Joining us tonight from Washington, D.C., Rudy Giuliani, President Trump's personal attorney, former mayor of New York City, federal prosecutor, great American. Rudy, good to have you on the broadcast. Let's start with the Attorney General in Michigan deciding to go after two state legislators who met with the president. Oh, they're tough people in Michigan, aren't they? Those radical Dems.
And also, were they wearing masks or not wearing masks, or maybe the mask didn't quite cover the nose? I'm not sure.
It gets complicated.
Meanwhile, the Attorney General of Michigan is missing the fact that 100,000 ballots were brought in at 4:30 in the morning in Detroit in trucks that look like garbage trucks, in garbage pails, actually. All those ballots were counted for Biden with no Republican inspectors around. We've got something called witnesses.
What is it?
That could testify to it under oath, but I guess the Michigan Attorney General doesn't like witnesses that testify under oath about things that are damaging the Democrats. I mean, what a phony. Total phony. They have what happened in Detroit can only be described as the worst fraud I've ever seen, carried out deliberately by the hack Democrat crooked party of Detroit. The overvotes are 140, 150, 200%, 300, 400%. How can you have 400% overvotes without having fraud? And the Attorney General doesn't care about that because he doesn't care about Democrats stealing elections. He should be all over that.
Seems to be a broad theme. Well, you would think. You would think it would be a bipartisan issue, electoral integrity. You would think that the Democrats would be just as excited. Well, not with crooked. Who knew they were so crooked in Michigan, in Pennsylvania? Just about everybody. The fact is that we weren't prepared for this election, it appears, because some people are getting surprised by what we're witnessing in Philadelphia, in Detroit. Chicago is going to be the next surprise. The question I've got is, now we've been watching you pursue both electoral fraud through the mail-in ballots, electoral fraud as well through the software and the claims about Dominion, a break with Sidney Powell over the weekend. What's behind that, and what is the motive, the reason for the split between Powell and Giuliani et al.?
Well, I think it's because we're pursuing two different theories. Our theory of the case to get to the Supreme Court, now in 4 places, and it's soon going to be in 2 others, and there'll be an overall lawsuit, is basically misconduct of the election by state officials in at least 5 or 6 different states, in which the misconduct of the election involved deprivation of constitutional rights for the president. For example, in one part of the state, you could fix a ballot. Democrat part. Other part of the state, you couldn't fix a ballot. One part of the state, the ballots were examined. Another part of the state, they didn't care if the ballots were examined. In Pennsylvania, there are 680,000 unexamined ballots that virtually were put in secretly by Democrats alone. That's outrageous. That is misconduct of the election. Elections are supposed to be conducted under the auspices of the laws passed by the legislature. And in fact, they made a mockery of it in Pennsylvania. The only place maybe worse is Michigan, and particularly the city of Detroit. The city of Detroit probably had more voters than it had citizens. I'm exaggerating a bit, but all you have to do is look at statistical data, and you can see that the fraud was rampant and out of control. What happened this time, Lou, they had these mail ballots, which I think was always part of the plan. They always cheated somewhat with absentee ballots. But, for example, they only had 450,000 absentee ballots 4 years ago in Pennsylvania. This time they had 2.6 million. That's like letting a couple of thieves free all night in Tiffany. And these expert voter fraud people, which you've got to say that Pittsburgh and Pennsylvania and Philadelphia and Detroit have a great expertise in voter fraud. It isn't the first election they've stolen, but this time they had massive ballots to do it with, and we have evidence. The evidence has been presented, and the media lies that we have no evidence. They're just too lazy to read our 100 affidavits, which are on the public record, from American citizens.
Well,
votes were stolen from
you
them.
I think we should not in any way besmirch the national left-wing media by calling them lazy. I think you and I both know that they are politically corrupt, and the line through their corporate ownership with the establishment that means to carry out its will, even in an election in which 74 million people cast votes, apparently not knowing what the polls had told them going into it. Suppression polls, as it turns out, and as the president points out. So here we are, 3 weeks tomorrow from the election. We're moving toward those dates of the 8th of December and the 14th of December. How much flexibility do you have, and how urgent are those deadlines that approach?
Oh, deadlines are urgent, no question about it. There isn't a lot of time, but there's time, and the fact is that the facts are there. We just need to get them before a trier of fact or before a court that'll be fair, and we'll listen to them. I mean, the court in Pennsylvania cut it off without listening to a single fact, and I don't know how the judge could have concluded that the facts aren't substantial when they haven't even been presented yet. They're really kind of, and on a motion to dismiss, you're not supposed to consider that. So, unfortunately, we haven't yet gotten a fair decision. We will. We got to be a little patient. One fair decision, one good hearing, and this will turn all around.
And Rudy Giuliani in charge of making sure that happens. We appreciate your time. Rudy Giuliani, thanks for being with us. Come back soon.